Hi, I'm Chuck, the founder of the real estate website queldwalls.com, and I'm here to tell you about the 45 million reasons why there is no housing bubble in 2021 and why there won't be one anytime soon. So, all across the United States, we've seen home prices really accelerate quite a bit. Come on, girl, hop up, join the video. We've seen home prices really accelerate quite a bit and appreciate quite a bit in the second half of 2020 and in the first half of 2021. And I see everywhere on YouTube and on TikTok and everywhere else, you see all these doom and gloom folks about how there's some impending crash and the market's going to crash and there's a housing bubble and these home prices are so high and look at 2008, and all of those folks are wrong. All of them are wrong. And I'd like to share with you some reasons why they're wrong and why this time it's different. And the environment is not what it was in 2005 and 6, which led to the housing crash back in 2000 through about 2009. First off, I think it's important to talk about what drove home prices up so much. What I call this the pinch. The pinch has been caused by a few factors that all came together at the same time. Those include you've got some really low interest rates. COVID-19 interrupted people's plans. The major life events are what drive the housing market. The marriages, the births, the deaths, the divorces, job promotions, job losses, all those types of things. And I know plenty of those events happened in 2020 as we were dealing with COVID-19, but a lot of the more elective events were put on hold. Kind of like the marriages and the engagements and the starts of new relationships, or trying out for that new job, or taking that job relocation because you were just concerned about all the changes and all the unknown. So the interruption of those life events kind of caused the market to slow down, but here it is picking up pace as we get away from COVID-19 and are starting to really come out of that situation. A third reason is a lot of buyers have a lot of cash right now. Number one obstacle to being able to buy a home is coming up with the down payment and the closing cost expense. A lot of Americans saved a lot of money in 2020. There was nothing to do, nowhere to go. People went to work and went home. A lot of the stimulus money was never spent. It was held on to by many recipients and just added to their savings accounts. So buyers have the cash. Number four, there just hasn't been a lot of homes built. And number five is those 45 million people and the 45 million reasons. There is a tremendous amount of demand due to demographic shifts happening in the U.S. population, and that combined with the low amounts of new construction homes in the last 10 years really is what causes a situation. So we kind of talked about what kind of really caused prices to accelerate suddenly. I think COVID-19 had a lot to do with really pushing that over the hill, but you're going to continue to see home prices climb and there is no bubble. So let's talk about what's really causing it and why long term the market is pretty sound. Home prices are going to continue to go up, and we're not going to see a market crash anytime soon. So if you look at U.S. Census data, people aged 25 to 34, there's about 45 million people, a little over 45 million people in the United States aged 25 to 34. This is the most important group when making predictions about the future, the near-term future of the U.S. housing market, looking at how that group of people are doing, and most of them are doing pretty well. They've got jobs, they've saved money. A lot of them have great credit scores and low debt-to-income ratio, so they qualify for loans. That makes them ready, willing, and able to buy. What else we see is you got to think of the 25 to 34-year-old. This is the age at which most people that buy a home end up buying their first home, which means they're going to the market and all they're doing is taking. They're only taking, they're only buying. They're not buying and selling, they're only buying. So that puts a tremendous demand on the market when you have all these people lining up just to take one out of the basket, and that's all. Then you see people in their early 30s and mid 30s, and this is where you start to see more people selling their first home and buying their second home, and they're doing that classic trade up to a larger home. Maybe they've established a family or just established more income and want a bigger home, whatever it may be. And that again puts a lot of demand on the market. So You have 45 million people aged 25 to 34. Ahead of that, looking at people aged 35 to 44, it's about 42, 43 million. Looking 10 years ahead of that, currently people age 45 to 54, it's another 42, 43 million. You have this massive, massive amount of population at this prime age of earning and doing things and buying the big things. And you've got, what is that, about 130 some million people between ages 25 and 55. And that is just a massive amount of people. And then you look at home building and what happened in home building in the United States in the last 10 years. As the recession tore through in 2007, 8, and 9, a lot of home builders were hurt pretty bad. What are you doing? Biting your foot. You're on TV right now. You gotta make an effort. This is Sally. She's the team mascot. Be good, Sally. So in 2007, 8, and 9, we saw the construction industry really get hurt by the housing recession. We started the decade 2010 only building about 400,000 homes a year. About a third of the way through the decade, we were around 600,000 homes a year. Middle of the decade, like 2014, 15, 16, 17, we're building somewhere around 600,000, 700,000, 800,000 homes a year. We end the decade around 900,000. Look at U.S. Census data. 2010 census reports 309 million people. 2020 census reports 328 million people. We've got more 25 to 34-year-olds alive today than we did 10 years ago. The people who put the most activity into the housing market. And in the last 10 years, we only built about 6.8 million homes. If you look at new home construction from the 1960s to current day, the 2010s was the lowest amount of home construction in any 10-year decade. Far below anything else. 1960s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and the first decade of the 2000s, all of those decades straddled right around the 10 million mark. Yet our population just continues to grow. We have this tremendous amount of people on the back half of the millennial generation, age 25 to 34. They're here to buy houses. They're willing, they're ready, they're able to buy houses. It is due to these reasons. There is no housing market crash. No job verification, no income verification, loan practices, the adjustable rate mortgage practices, all those things that happened in the early 2000s, they don't exist in the market. Those things aren't going on. People aren't over-leveraged and wildly over-leveraged on these properties, owning 2, 3, and 4 properties at incomes that don't support that. Those things are not happening these days. They just are not happening. Someone wants to buy a second home, it's a 25% down payment. If they are being truthful with their lender and it's truly going to be a second home, it's a 25% down payment. It's just what it is. So all this, there's a market crash. These prices are unsustainable. It's not true. It just does not make any sense. And certainly the economy can be strong. The economy can cool. And we see some prices slip a little bit. And we see buyer demand slip a little bit. But to use words like it's a bubble, a crash is coming, is really reckless in my opinion. And just wrong. It's just an incorrect conclusion based on all the facts that are ahead of us. And I believe the housing market will stay strong for a while, especially with all the regulations that are in place, especially on the lending side, which I think is fantastic. You look at the number of people who are age, it was 15 to 24. We've got another 41 million coming right next. So I believe the housing market is on very solid footing for about the next 15 to 20 years. The only thing that I think could negatively affect prices if suddenly millions and millions more homes were built. But I know that it's going to take a long time for the construction industry to catch up with that. Frankly, though, we do need more new construction homes getting built at all different price points and to meet all different housing needs. So that's kind of my take on that. Feel free to read the article. I've got some great charts in there. If you like this content, you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe to the channel. If you're watching this on Facebook, like my Facebook page. My name is Chuck Vanderstelt, and I'm a real estate agent in Indiana, and I work for a company named Listing Leaders. And I'm the founder of the real estate website, quadwalls.com. Feel free to visit quadwalls.com and contact me with any questions or anything like that. I'd be happy to get those answered for you. And thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And Sally appreciates it too. Don't you, Sally? She really appreciates it too. Thanks.